All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. This is Courtney.
And Morgan, but tonight I'm Auntie Momo because trying to be that cool auntie instead of somebody's mama.
Yes. And we are with Little Black Homes on the Prairie. And we are so glad that you guys came back and joined us today. If you have not already subscribed, then please subscribe so you can join in, be part of the conversation, comment, and let's get into it. So, April's almost over, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Like last Saturday, I did not know what the date was, and I thought it was the last Saturday of the month, and we had a birthday to go to. So I thought, so I was in a rush. I had got the gift from Target pickup. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna make it all work today. Just frantic. I already talked to my husband. How can we do this? And then my son's like, oh, it's the 24th or 23rd. I was like, what's today? Like the 23rd.
You're like,
oh,
ooh.
my birthday party's the 30th.
Yeah.
I just needed to sit down somewhere because I said I would have been sitting at their house by myself, pulling up, looking crazy.
Crazy.
But I feel
Crazy.
like that's the theme of my life right now. Like doing so much, but really not doing anything at all. And also not knowing what is happening on any front.
Yes. Feeling lost.
It doesn't make sense. Like, it's not like I have 20 kids, I work 10 jobs. Like, I'm at my house and I don't know what's happening.
Sometimes the house feels like an abyss.
It's exactly how it is. And I'm so confused. So, the title of this chat is just going to be, Can You Really Grow Where You're Planted? I see the bookmarks, I see the shirts, the mugs, and it's a cute saying. I want to believe it. Well, let's talk about, what do you do when your soil, that ain't happening?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
kind of growing some dust.
Yes.
Or,
Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday I tried to plant some flower seeds and the spot that I wanted along the house. I was looking at the dirt and it was more like dust. It was more like dust. We had that torrential rain
yeah,
Saturday night.
yeah.
This dirt was so dry. And I was looking at it and I was looking at the other places in the yard and looking at it again. And I'm like, okay, where I want to plant these flowers, they would die. They would never thrive. So it's so funny that that's what we're talking about today because sometimes life feels like that dusty, hard and dirt where you're like, how am I supposed to thrive in this?
Exactly. It makes you think about that parable. We were just talking about it, I think, last week, maybe the week
Mm-hmm.
before. You have the sower, he's planting those seeds, and it falls in four different types of ground. And, you know, I'm thinking not so much about the seed, but like that ground, that
Yeah.
rocky ground. How do you go about like getting those rocks out, but trying to grow at the same time? Because I keep thinking like, I can't move. I can't transplant myself to a different situation, to a different
Right.
environment. Like, this is my situation. These are my children. This is my situation. This is my life. These are
The
my
rocks.
rocks.
The rocks are there. Oh gosh.
So, what do we do about
Yeah.
the soil situation? Like, can it be infused? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question because yesterday all I did was pivot my plan and I just chose different soil for the seeds. I just
Yeah.
said, okay, well I'll have to just cover this patch up with mulch and move on. But
Right.
we can't do like you said with our life. We can't just say, well, I'm gonna have a new reality. So tomorrow I'm gonna move, have new kids, new husband. I'm gonna be a new me. You
Right.
can't even, you can't do any of those things. And I keep thinking to myself, you know, how is it just a matter of dying to self more, of letting go more? I think about the water song from Hind's Feet on High Places, and the lyrics that stick out to me is that the water goes lower, lower, lower still. And so when I have those days where, I mean, a day like today where I'm like, I'm out. I'm tapped out. I'm leaving. I just think lower, like just go lower, lower, lower still.
Right.
Because underneath all the dust and the rocks, there is water somewhere under there.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I agree with that. Today, me and the kids were doing an experiment about metamorphic rock. And so, anyway, we had 3 layers of Play Doh, different colors, flattened them out, stacked them on top of each other, and then kind of made a mushroom, right? And so, you're squeezing the Play Doh, and the whole lesson was that metamorphic rock is formed deep in the earth, but somehow it comes up to the surface. Like you can't mine it; it's so deep. So, like marble is an example of it. And
Right.
so you took this Play-Doh, we're squeezing it, and we kept squeezing it, and we're like, eventually, the first layer is gonna like go away, the second layer is gonna
Mm-hmm.
go away, and the third layer is gonna come through. And so we were talking about how do the first layers and second layers, if those are different types of rock, like how do they just go away? We talked about, okay, it could be from rain, it could be from the wind, it could be from like the ocean hitting it, it could be
Mm-hmm.
from foot traffic or animals. Like there's some type of erosion that has to take place for those layers to break down to get to like that marble that's underneath. And that's how I feel sometimes is that there's a
Mm-hmm.
weathering process that has to take place. And sometimes I feel like I'm just like digging, like do more, push
Yeah.
harder, read more of my Bible, like do more praying. And if I just keep digging, I'm gonna get to this place. But I think a lot of it is gonna be that weathering, like
Mm-hmm.
just a natural process of being rubbed up against or things not going my way or just feeling worn down. And that's how you get to that lower level. Like that's
Yeah.
how it comes up to the surface, and it comes about. The lesson is talked about through pressure and high heat, and that metamorphic rock can, by definition, it cannot be formed by liquefaction. So it can't be a rock that's like melted and then cooled. It has to just be formed by pressure and heat that forms it into something new. And so I think that was just a good example for me today,
Yeah.
in that life might seem like it's crushing,
And it
or
is.
like you just like can't handle it, or it's not making sense, and you're in this dark place where every day just kind of looks like the day before. Like I was thinking just about posting on Instagram, and it just made me laugh because I'm thinking, I mean, I could post today, but it would be like the same thing I posted yesterday and the day before.
Repackaged, different filter, different caption.
Because it's not like we're not like climbing a mountain today, and tomorrow we're
Yeah.
going to go to the beach, and the next day we're going to go to a museum. Like we're not.
Yeah.
It's not going to look like that. It's going to look like how yesterday looked.
Right.
And I think that is where that's the wearing down process. That
Mm-hmm.
it can be mundane, and that's normal, right? Like
Yeah. And I think I fight the mundane so hard. I try and create something to do, find something to do, get a new routine, a new job, a new whatever
right,
to because I don't want to fall into the mundane.
yeah,
But then you do wonder, okay, is the weathering going to happen? Because, like you said, you need that weathering to put pressure on the rock to form something beautiful like marble.
right,
Um, and, you know, lately with shifting from the hospital to being at home every day has turned into the same day. And I've not ever had that as a mom because I've always worked a job where every day was pretty different. It looked different. Even if I was doing the same tasks, being a nurse, like every day is so different.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't really understand what people would say when they're like, "Oh, being a stay-at-home mom is like the same thing every day," and it's like, like a movie where you just wake up and you're like, "I already know how today's gonna go," and I didn't know what people were talking about until the past. It hit me like the past 2 weeks, and I was like, "Oh, this is it." When You haven't seen other people besides the people in your family. You try and meet up with friends, but like the schedules never work, and you're like,
Never
oh
work.
wow, another day with just my children. I I'm like, wow, this is a whole new, the lower still.
It's wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. It's like Groundhog Day. You know that movie
Yeah.
where it's like you say, you just already know. Like it's just the same day.
And I think the more you fight it, the more miserable it is,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's not a bad thing to have the same cycle every day.
Yeah.
But when we're not content in that, and I'm not saying that's easy because I have not found that. Like I'm in the phase of discontentment. Um, how to enjoy each day. Like I listen to the podcast of like the Wild and Free Moms and the Charlotte Mason or New Mason Jar podcast. And not to say that those moms just love every day, but I really do try and like pick up on the principles that they're sharing, the keys to having joy in each day. And a
Yeah.
lot of them have um, been stay at home moms for years and years, but others are new to it and they're trying to figure it out. Um, and I can relate to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you said, finding being content in that. And I don't think that means that you have to just make every day magical or that I'm going to go out of my way, like to, I guess, like make it different
Mm-hmm.
because rhythm is good, consistency is good
It
for
is.
children. And I just think as an adult who, like had a life before having kids. And it's not like I was some adventure seeker or adrenaline junkie because I wasn't.
Right.
However, I think when you have kids, you're like, wait. Like, what was I doing with my time before I
Yeah.
had? I was wasting it. I was playing
Yes. Not having fun. Well, I was having fun, but not enough.
not enough. Only I could get in a time machine.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yeah. I mean,
Because
even the adventures, like you said, like you didn't have to be overly adventurous,
no,
but just having more life experiences,
right.
I think, plays a huge role into things as well.
I think it does. And I think as kids get older, you can start to like have those adventures and do more of those things or change things up a little bit more. But when you have babies and toddlers, like it is
Right.
that like feed them, they go to sleep, they play. Like it is that same 3 hour cycle repeatedly. And so I think it really helps when we normalize that. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is how it is. And I don't think to normalize the like the negativity of it, that's like it's a struggle. I don't know how I can do this
Right. Right.
every day. Like not like that. But saying like this is real life and it still can be a good life. Like
Right. And
don't
you
make it
might
more than
not have the Instagram, life of adventure and excitement every day, but you can still
Mhm.
do little things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so going back to blooming where you're planted, I think that it can sometimes be difficult to feel like I want to grow as a person, like character wise and certain things that I like to work on. Like, and then also helping these little people to grow in their character as well. And I know people are like, you can't pour from an empty cup and all those different
Mm-hmm.
things. But like sometimes you have to, like, that's the
Right.
reality is that you can't
Yep.
be like, hey, today I don't have it in me. Like, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter because those kids still have to be fed, they still have to have
Yep.
books read to them, play, like, and so sometimes you do have to like pour from the magic empty cup because you can't
Yeah.
be like, today, mommy just can't do it.
That's, I've tried that. I have. I've attempted that, and it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. So I've been like praying for grace, like, Lord, my cup is empty. It is empty right now. And so I need magic grace to come out of it. Like, I
Yes.
need the miracles to
Yes.
pour out.
Pour out. Yes. Drown me in it.
Yeah. Because I don't think it's realistic that my cup is going to be Well, okay, I'm gonna be real. I don't think it's realistic that my cup is gonna be full all day, every day.
Right.
I just
How
don't.
could it?
How could it? Like, and I'm still trying to figure out what does it look like to fill it up and then pour it out and then fill it back up again. But sometimes it looks like your cup is just shattered on the ground. You're like, well, can't pour it
With
into.
your kids stomping on the, on the shards.
You're just trying to pick up the pieces. Mommy's coming. Oh my goodness.
I
And
know some of you
so
guys can relate to this. So.
I know you can. So I think it's so important to realize our limitations, accept them, and then like ask the Lord for help and move on.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a podcast. I don't remember her name, but she was just talking about the fact that there's that slogan or saying that talks about like I am enough. And so she was
Mm.
saying that when we, and this is not to bash anyone who says that or thinks that, I'm just saying, like, this was an eye opening moment when she said, okay, when we talk about I am enough, that's putting pressure on ourselves to have it within us to get the job done. Like, I can be patient enough, I can be kind enough, I can be the teacher, I can be the helper, like, I can be all these things if I just try hard enough. If I just look within, I have what I need, or I can meet the needs of everyone in my family. And she said, like, that's really, if you think about it, like, not true. Like, I'm not
Mhm.
enough. Like, only Christ is enough. So I
Mhm.
have to depend on Him to be enough. And that took pressure off of me when I was like, dang, you're right. Like, I can't make it through today. And that doesn't
Right.
mean that I'm going to fall apart. Like, it just means I'm honest with the fact that I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, in and of myself, I'm not going to have a good attitude. In and of myself,
Right.
I am going to be ready to slap someone. And so admitting that I am not enough has been fantastic for me. I'm like, yeah,
Feel
absolutely.
feel free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard that same podcast and I thought it was so profound. And I thought about how it just sets you up for failure. You know, every time it makes you have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
And I used to post a lot on Instagram about like, yeah, like you're enough, you're magic, you're this, you're that. And then I was like, not feeling those things in my own life. And so it's like, okay, why am I posting that when I don't feel that? That's not true for me. So it probably isn't true for other people either. And to hear that lady say that, who's like I mean, I think she was like a counselor or like someone
Mhm.
licensed, was like, wow, yeah, why are we saying that? And I think going back to like bloom where you're planted, what comes to mind is being who you are, because if you're blooming or growing where you're planted even, then a plant's just worried about itself. Like poppies aren't looking over at the sunflowers aren't looking at the pansies. Like every plant is just growing the way that it should be. But I think a lot of times we're like, well, how come I'm not as advanced as this other mom? She's so organized, or this mom always has cute activities, or that mom always looks so put together, is always on time. And I mean, we all have different gifts, we all have different talents, but I think a lot of times we're so busy trying to be like someone else that we're not being ourselves, or like
Mhm.
you said, even figuring out who am I so
Right.
that I can be that person.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of it too. Like taking time to think about the person that we want to be and not to have all of our identity wrapped up in being a mom. Because
Right.
then every time something goes wrong, it's like a personal attack. Like, oh my goodness,
Yes.
my kids is, or you're like so embarrassed or so angry because like, how did this happen? Like, I thought I was such a good mom. And once again, that's that pressure that
Mm-hmm.
like if my kids mess up, if they misbehave, if they say the wrong thing, like that's a reflection of me. And don't get me wrong, maybe it is. Like maybe you're that mom who don't
Yeah.
care. Someday your kids act a fool. But
That's
you
true.
know,
That's true.
kids are gonna be kids. They're gonna do
Yeah.
crazy stuff and say crazy stuff, and that does not mean like you are inherently a bad parent. And so yeah, I think it is possible to grow where you're planted, but to also realize, like you said, like things are going to grow at different rates. We have a garden in the back right now, and some things are getting sunlight, some things aren't getting enough. Like
Right.
it's the same type of plant in the same soil, like in the same raised bed. Yet one has come through and one hasn't. It's like, what's the deal? And so that's me looking on the plants, wondering, well, what's going on with this one? Why has it not come through? Like maybe it's just taking more time, or the sunlight
Right.
it didn't hit it, just the right way. And so it is so easy to compare or to boost ourselves up to think like, well, look how well I'm doing in my certain situation. And you can be proud in stuff that doesn't even matter. Like I know my husband has said, um, man, if we had money, like we would have a housekeeper. I was like, a housekeeper? You don't think I keep this house clean? Like I was highly offended. Highly offended. It's like we don't need someone to clean the house. Why would I have someone coming in here? Like I'm here all day. That doesn't make any like I was well this whole tangent, right? Because I was, and then afterwards he's like, okay, but then I was looking at my pride. Like my pride was in the fact that first of all, one, my house is not clean, so delusional. But two, my pride was in the fact that well, I can take care of this. Like I'm a stay at home mom. I take care of my house. I take care of my kids. I can get dinner on the table.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like take the help. Like I mean,
Right. And
if
that, yeah.
if we could afford it, like why would I be so offended that I need help to do something? Like that's
Yeah.
helping me grow. Like that's helping me flourish.
Right.
That's
It's
giving me
freeing you up.
time to do something that like maybe I want to do. But
Yeah.
then I'm putting myself in bondage by being like, no, no, I don't need help.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is. It is. And it's like when you take a step back, you're like, wait, why would I refuse that?
Why
But
exactly?
I mean, it's human nature. It's that badge of being a mom. I could carry the whole family on my back. And it's like, no, you
Hmm.
can't. They're gonna crush you.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then we still try and plow through. Um, and
Doesn't work.
it doesn't work. It leaves you feeling just really resentful is what it causes, is resentment towards the people in your home.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in order to grow, we have to give ourselves a chance.
Yeah.
We have to allow the rocks to be cleared away. We have to allow for time and that sunlight and that soil. And maybe it's like in the Midwest where, one day it's 80, one day it's 30, one day it's 20, one day like the temperature fluctuates and we can't control those things. And
Hmm.
just looking at our life and just realizing like, okay, I can't control certain circumstances or situations or environments, but that is not going to prevent me from like growing
Right.
and maturing and asking for help or getting the things that I can ask for that are, within the realm of possibility.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
And I think not putting a not putting a time limit on it of how you're going to uncover who you are and work towards being, the mom that you want to be. It just outside of mom, just being the woman that you want to be.
hmm.
Not saying, oh, by my next birthday, I've got to have this figured out, or by, the time my child starts kindergarten. But knowing it's a refining process every single day. I mean, the Lord never says that at a certain point you need to be here.
Exactly.
He's with us every day, every step of the way, because he knows that we're in this walk and we're trying to be more like him each day. He's never in the Bible does it say, after this many years, you should be just like Christ. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
you're
a
right.
striving towards the mark.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because we're not enough.
Right.
And so there's not going to be a day where he's like, oh, today you're enough.
Yeah.
You're enough today.
But I think in our minds, we're like, okay, by 35
Yeah.
or by the time I have 4 kids or whatever, like
Yeah.
I should be it.
Yeah.
Um and for, or even in the business or in a career, because we're so driven by outcomes that we're looking for I think we're just looking for outcomes that don't exist in motherhood perhaps.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I think we have, wrapped it up.
I feel good about it.
So before we end, one thing that has happened or you've seen this week that was hilarious. Mm.
Um, okay. Something that I've seen this week that was hilarious. You go first.
Okay. So like I told you, we went to the park yesterday, and my husband had been telling me that there's these individuals who do reenactments in the park of like the way he was describing it. It sounded like jousting, Renaissance type action. So yesterday we pulled up to the park. I saw it firsthand, and all I could say was, "Wow!" The costumes were involved, shields were involved, um, foam swords, or I don't know what they're called, jousting sticks. And so I kind of thought about jousting, like you sit on a horse and you like ride. It's like,
Yeah.
so obviously there was no horses, but they were just running like full bore at each other with these foam swords and shields, and just running into each other and then just falling onto the ground. So to me, I was like, you know what? One, good for you. Good for you for putting that costume on and getting out here on a Sunday and not caring about the
And
rest of
not
the world
caring.
or not caring at all. And
Wow.
I was just like, how does one get into this? How does one find
I
the
don't
other
know.
people?
That's what I was gonna say. How do you find? Because I can
The
see how,
other,
like, you get into it, you're seeing it online, but
yes,
how do you find other people in your community
that's what I
that are
thought.
into it?
And I thought there is no reason why I should not be able to find a group of people that I want to do things with, because these people, they found each other. They organized, they bought their stuff,
And
and
they're making it happen.
they're making it happen. And it was amazing to watch. So
Wow.
that was that was amazing.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't know if I have anything on that level of mind blowingness, but a funny thing that happened to me was just the simple fact that yesterday I tripped so hard on a sheet
Oh,
that was hanging off the side of the bed, and I tried to play it off, but my husband saw me the entire time. And so we busted out laughing, but just a friendly reminder to make up your bed, because
yeah,
you never
safety
know
first.
when a sheet might get you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think we've said all there is to say. I would like to thank our fictitious sponsor for today, and that's going to be Bloomwell. And Bloomwell provides fertilizer for the rocky places in your life. So, if Bloomwell is a real company, I apologize. We're not really referring to you.
We don't
But if
even
you'd
know.
like to sponsor us, then feel free to contact us. We can see where we can take it from here. Okay?
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe and tune
Bye.
in next time.